Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome and Happy New Year. And it's absolutely fantastic to see you on this New Year's Day. I hope you are really, really well. We've got a really exciting live event for you. We've got so much happening. I'm really excited to say I have three women that are joining me here in the studio, the virtual studio today. We've got Jeanette, Mary, and Berenice, and they were all winners of my Transformation Challenge back in 2025. They all won their sort of cohort. Each month there was a cohort, and they won $2,000. And tonight, one of them's going to be winning $10,000 on top of their $2,000. So that's really exciting. I'm so excited about this. I love giving money away. I absolutely love it. But the thing about it is, and we're going to hear from them very shortly, is actually when people win this, the best win of all is actually changing their body shape. It's being in better health. It's changing their body shape. It is not about, it's not necessarily about winning money. That is the icing on the cake. You are going to find out today. I was going to say tonight, but it's the evening here in the UK. So for some of you, it's going to be in the night. For Jeanette, that's joining us, she's joining us from Australia. So if you could let me know where you guys are joining from in the comments, that would be really great. And let me know why you're here. Are you here to win some money? Maybe you want to find out about winning some money. There's going to be an opportunity for somebody here, as well as one of the women, the three women that I've got here with me. Somebody's going to be able to win $10,000 in February and $5,000. And there's actually more cash prizes because there's going to be an estimated $20,000 in cash prizes up for grabs. So I'm going to talk about that because it's my new belly fat boot camp. So that is really exciting. We've got Maymuna in the chat. Hello, Maymuna. Thank you for joining. Maymuna works for me. She's actually meant to be having a day off. So I didn't know she was going to be here. I thought, Maymuna, I'm thank you so much for joining. I thought you were having a day off because our offices are actually closed today. And so that just shows you what an incredible team I have. Now, anyone that's contacted our customer service, they will probably know Maymuna because she as well as many other amazing things she does, she answers all our customer inquiries. So, I now nominims. Is that how you pronounce it? Nominims. No, I can't say it. Anyway, you're on the Stairmaster. So that is absolutely fantastic. Look at that. Let me put it up here. So you're actually exercising while you're watching this. That is, well done to you. You're not letting, you're jumping into 2026 the right way. Hopefully you're doing some weightlifting as well while you're there. That would be amazing. Nomi. So thank you very much, Nomi, for sharing that. That is so inspirational. We're going to be hearing from some inspirational women very, very shortly. And I'm just going to do, I'm really kind of honored that you are sharing your New Year's Day with me because I feel really privileged. Because I kind of think, there must be, people are very busy at this kind of season, in this season. And I'm just going to kind of share the screen just to remind you why we're here. But we're all, I'm so honored because I sort of think, whenever I do these live events and people come along and they want to spend time with me, it's just absolutely fantastic to have you here. Because I just sort of think, it's a great honor, and lots of you be tuning in around the world. And by the way, there is a poll. Hopefully you can see the poll there that I would love you to answer. which is kind of what kind of belly fat you've got, because we're going to be talking, I'll just make that a little bit larger actually. We're going to be talking about belly fat, and then I'm going to be talking about my, so we're going to be hearing from one woman, or three women, sorry, and then we're going to do a live winner announcement on the transformation challenge that we had last year. Oh, that's one of them there. I've gone too many slides forward there, so I'll just go back a minute. Let me just, I'll unshare that and start again. So, well, that's a really good cue for me. So when we've heard from these women and we've announced the winner, we are actually going to talk about belly fat. So that's why I would love you to do that poll that we've got there in the chat. That's, I think it's in the chat, sort of pinned to the top, hopefully. I can't actually see it from here because I'm in a studio, but I know some people have already filled it in. So hopefully you're kind of filling that in. And I will go back now and do my slides. And we're going to be talking to the first sort of, they're not in any particular order. The first winner that we're going to be talking to that won $2,000. And look at that. Look at that transformation she made in just 8 weeks. So I'm going to get Mary on the chat now to sort of have a chat with us about how she feels now. You know, obviously it was quite a few months back that you won, didn't you? How are you feeling now, Mary?
No, it's great. I loved the transformation and the starting point for me. So that was 3 months ago that I won, but it changes mentally. I would think for me, the body change was amazing and I loved that, but mentally the change was out of this world. Amazing.
And you did incredibly well, Mary, and your story really spoke to me, just to sort of share with the audience, because what happens, so if you're going in for my belly fat boot camp, and there is a link pinned at the top of the comments and also the ticker tape underneath me, so you can sort of actually sign up while you're watching this. And just to let you know, it's only on an early bird discount till the end of today, and then it goes to full price. So it's currently at $97 and full price is $147. So I would urge you, if you're kind of thinking about it and you're on the fence, sign up today, because it's actually going to go up in price. And it's I'll talk about it later on in this live, but it's incredible value for what you get. But the main thing is you get an incredible transformation like Mary. And Mary, you were not even, a few years back, you couldn't lift 10 pounds, could you? And you also had, what really stood out to me is you had 2 deaths in your family while this was going on, or maybe it was shortly before it was going on. And you were also moving house. So how did you manage to cope with that?
I needed something consistent, and doing my workouts with you every morning, that was consistent. And it kept me level-headed and balanced, and it worked. The spinal injury, they said not that I wasn't going to be able to, and I challenged that theory. So that was really good. And like I said, the mental change for me was huge. I mean, the physical is what you can see. the mental, emotional was what I saw.
And how would you say you changed mentally then, Mary?
Well, I found something that would balance me out, rather than, I'm doing really good on my workouts and then someone dies, and then I'm doing really good again, and now I got to move, and then and then somebody else dies. So I had that consistent every day where I knew I was winning at something. I was winning at doing my workouts. I was winning at taking care of me. I was winning at eating properly and feeding my body. that was my win every day.
And what did you like best about the program then?
It was easy, not easy, but not hard. It was easier than I thought it would be. I was able to do it, and the change that happened physically was so fast. And other people noticed it on me, not just me. So for other people to notice it, that's pretty big, I think.
Yeah, so let's just we'll go back now to the let's just go and just look at this, because some people will just be joining and thinking, what on earth is she talking about? So this was Mary on my 8-week transformation challenge in 2025, which I think you did the August challenge, and then you found out in September or early October that you'd won $2,000. And just to let guys know in the audience, I don't just look at the physical transformation. I look at how people have transformed. So the women submit a very short video. It's only 2 minutes to tell me about how they got on in the challenge. And so with Mary, it really did speak to me, because I could tell she had really made the mental transformation. Because in my experience, and I've worked with 13,000 women now, it's actually a bit more than that, 13,500 women, and in my experience, this is a mental battle more than anything else, because it's going to be about consistency. It's going to be sticking to how you eat when it's okay during the holiday season, but to break ranks and drink some alcohol and eat food that you wouldn't normally eat. But for the rest of the year, we need to be staying pretty consistent with food, pretty consistent with exercise. And you heard from Mary there that she said it was actually easy. So I just wanted, just for people, because I can see there's more and more people joining, that's the sort of transformation she made in a matter of weeks. And I want to go back to you, Mary. Did you even think that was possible?
No, not a chance. No, I didn't think that was possible at all. I didn't. And other people, when I've talked to them, they're like, but how long did that take you? Like 6 months? No, 8 weeks. No way. Nobody believes it, but it's true. It took 8 weeks. And I well done on your part for creating this. Thank you.
Well done, and congratulations to you. And please stick with us, Mary. We're going to move on to the other women now. But well done. Everyone's a winner. It sounds like a real cliche, but even women that didn't win money, I look at all your transformations, the ones that submit the pictures, and I just kind of think, you've done amazingly well. I wouldn't say it was particularly easy. I don't give women in their 40s, 50s, 60s. We have women in their 70s. I don't give you a free pass. I make you work for it, but I believe that the effort is kind of worth it with the reward that we get on the end. So thanks very much, Mary. And I will move on to our next lady now, who is Berenice. Hello, Berenice. And how are you doing?
And Melissa, I'm doing great. I'm just like sitting up here. Okay, I'm using my husband's phone at the moment because I was using the laptop and there was a bit of a problem there. I was so worried that you couldn't see me. But actually, can you see me from here?
Yes, I can see you and I can hear you. And firstly,
awesome.
I want to say well done and congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
This is phenomenal. So you were the most recent transformation challenge winner. You won yourself $2,000 US. How are you feeling?
Oh, Melissa, I'm still in cloud nine about that because I haven't expected. Look, I was just grateful to complete the challenge because there's times when your body don't want you, and you as a person, you can't see like you are shredding, but other people see. In you think by yourself, just finish a challenge at least then you feel great just completing it. But winning that cash, that money, I never expected, Melissa, and it just came the right time. That was, I'm still dreaming about it. I'm still dreaming. Oh, okay.
Well
I think my
done.
laptop is set up now. But thank you so much. Oh, um, I'm still in dreamland about that. And when I think about it, it's still amazing. It's hard to believe that it happened to me. Like, it was the last thing that actually that I expect that I would win the October challenge. Seeing
You've done
going through all this.
incredibly well. All the women here, but all three of you have done incredibly well. I want to congratulate you, but let's just talk about you, because one of the things I was telling people sort of a little bit before you arrived was how I look at people, their videos, and you've made not only a physical transformation, but a mental transformation, because you said you were really depressed. You kind of hid in the house with the curtains drawn, didn't you? Describe how you were feeling before you took part in this challenge, because I think it will really inspire other people, Berenice.
Yes, Melissa. Nothing worked. But first, before I answer that question, I just have, Mommy said, I must just tell you, where were you a few millennia ago when they needed you the most? I remember as a teenager, I remember so clearly. I used to see Mommy and her sisters how they battle with the bulge. They crash diets. They use cardio. And I mean, when I was a child, they were putting on the VH, those tapes, and they were exercising until the sweat were dripping from their faces. And as children, we were also joining in. But the tire tube, as they call it, it just didn't want to budge. And that's where I
No.
decided, that's not going to happen to me. I'm going to start early. I'm not going to have that belly. I didn't understand what was it all about. And I mean, they didn't know about protein diets, high protein. They didn't know about lifting weights. They still understand for a woman to lift weights, you have to be in a bodybuilding competition. They was totally taboo. And that's where I decided, no, it's not gonna happen with me. I'm gonna start early. You see, we're all 5 foot women. We're quite short, and a belly doesn't look so much on us. It doesn't look nice. It doesn't suit
Mm-hmm.
us totally. So when I went out, I actually just sitting in the house. I hardly didn't want to go out. When I have to go, I would take a big handbag with me, and I would keep it in front of my belly to hide the belly, because it was so embarrassing. You try and you exercise, and people would say she's training so hard, but nothing worked. Um, when I don't have to go anywhere, when I come from work, I would just be in my bedroom, closing the curtains, and be depressed. Because you're hopeless, Melissa, nothing worked. You don't know what to do. Before we met you, until my husband brought me the video of you talking about menopausal belly fat, I was so in ecstasy. I couldn't believe what I've seen. And you actually gave us hope,
Mm-hmm.
this transformation, Melissa, it was just not only a body transformation. It gave me a self-esteem. It did not only shed the fat, it also shed, the hopelessness, the defeatness. And the perspective that you get, this competition give you a perspective of life, the perspective that you get, your relationship with food, your how to do exercise. Oh, I think we were brainwashed all these years. Everything we know about losing weight, that was all wrong until we met you. That's what Mommy say. Where were you a few millennia ago? They could have also be the Battle of the Bulge if you were around in those years when they were still battle to lose weight. And also, proclaiming our health and our vitality. That's what this transformation challenge did to us. Now we can live our life freely. I can actually run, and I can run, I can jump without being sluggish, without being tired after this challenge. And for your clothes to actually flow freely upon your body, that is such an amazing feeling. I didn't know what I would be, where would I be if it wasn't for you, Melissa, teaching us how to eat, how to train. Are you really God sent? But now, I am free from physical limitations, breaking the cycles of bad habits, eating wrong times, eating the wrong food. So that's why I said this competition, it wasn't just a transformation. It was really emotionally for my family, for me. It really helped us a long way. And I'm not going to turn back. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to stick to what you train us, and that is my life forever.
Well done, Berenice. Congratulations to you. I can see there's loads of people in the chat sort of congratulating you and that sort of thing. So it's just all credit to you. It's absolutely fantastic. And thanks for joining us. And sorry, it's always difficult when you've got sort of technical, you've got, you know, we're in our 50s, getting through technology is always, it's a bit of a challenge, but thank you.
I thought of everything figured out here because the technology was set up, and I'm waiting and I'm looking at the time, and I said, no, the time is passing. There must be something wrong. And then hubby stepped in. He's always saving the day here for me. So I'm having his phone now with, and I'm having the laptop. So I actually don't know where I'm at. So that's why my the picture's a bit otherwise
yes,
I have to have his phone on one end and then I have to look that way.
Yeah, I can see you've joined on both. Well, hang on in there. We're going to move to Jeanette now, who is our remaining winner, who's been waiting very patiently. And Jeanette is actually in Australia, and it's like the early hours of the morning. And Jeanette has joined us. So welcome, Jeanette, and congratulations to you. I'm just going to get your picture up so people can see. And you, not only did you transform your body, you've had some specific challenges, haven't you, as a cancer survivor, and some sort of family issues going on. So could you talk to us about what was going on before you joined, Jeanette?
Well, as you mentioned that I was a cancer survivor, I am a cancer survivor, and did all the right things there, and that was quite grueling. It wasn't a very good 12 months whatsoever. A lot of changes with your health afterwards, the side effects of the chemo and the radiation. But I got through it. I did it. I'm pretty determined. Shortly after that, my mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And we were unfortunately unable to keep her with us in this world. So she passed away. I'm not going to cry, but just before I joined the challenge, my sister was struck down emergency surgery, and we nearly lost her. And I thought, I can't join the challenge. This was July. I was going to join the July challenge. And I thought, no, I can't do this. I have to be there for her, what's going on. You know, I'm raising 2 grandsons. It's just too much. I can't do it. We got the word that she was actually stage 4 cancer, and that's what the emergency surgery was about. And that just blew me away. That was my incentive to join up, to start looking after myself again, because I can't be there for anyone if I can't be there for myself. And after Mum passed away, I was angry with the universe. I was angry with Creator, whatever you believe in. And I didn't look after myself to the best that I should have. And I'm privileged to be here. A lot of people don't get that second chance. My sister's certainly not going to get it. So it really stuck with me. And I thought, I'm doing this. Then 2 days before the July challenge, I fell and fractured my coccyx bone. So there was another challenge, and I'm like, oh, your team was wonderful. I was able to get out of that challenge. They put me on hold for a couple of months. They emailed me and checked up and see if I was okay to start another challenge. So I said, yep, I'm doing this. So I started the September challenge. It was grueling, I must say, after 8 to 12 week recovery for a fractured coccyx bone. But again, I just kept thinking, I've got to do this because my health could go again at any time. I've got to be around for my grandsons. I've got to be around my sister's children. I have to be there to support everyone, but I've got to do it for me first. I was nearly falling asleep. I was exhausted. So I knew I've got to put myself first. It's hard. It's hard to put yourself first. But joining this program and meeting some wonderful women, and we've got a little WhatsApp group from some of the challenge people from September, and we keep each other motivated. And it's like Mary said, it's for your mental health. That's why I did it. Losing the weight wasn't what my goal was. It was a bonus. And it was to get mentally fit, to get myself 100% in my mind, to be able to cope with what life throws at you. And I learned life is going to throw you a curveball, but don't use it as an excuse anymore. Use it as a way to go forward, make it as your reason to go forward. So that's my chapter 1 of my new book, and I'm sticking with that. And it's been so beneficial. The weight coming off, the inches coming off. I've dropped 2 clothing sizes. That was a bonus. I feel great. I did doing the challenge. I mostly did the anti-inflammatory menu, and it's helped me so much with my joints. My hips were really stiff, my lower back. A lot of these issues you have with the aftermath of cancer is, the bone density issues as well, and it so helped with that. I don't wake at night with sore hips. I'm sleeping better. I'm able to cope with the challenges. So lots of more challenges ahead, but I can do it. I've got it. I've got good support, and I've just joined up for the Belly Blast one as well, because I like to have that structure. And as Mary said, you need something to focus on each day. Doing the program, it meant I had control. All the other things in the world that's going on at the moment for me, I don't have control over that. But I do over me. So to do the menu planning, I love that. That's just, I love it. The exercise was a challenge because I have never exercised in my life.
Wow.
I'd be lying on the floor thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? I can't do this. And sometimes I'd be in tears, and then I'm like, no, I'll just do what I can. A lot of things I could not do because of the fractured coccyx bone injury. So I did more of others, or I improvised, or I did modifications. I didn't do as many reps, but I thought, well, I'm doing this for me. I wasn't even going to send in the photos. I wasn't even going to bother. But a few women in the group said, just send it in. I think you should send it in. I'm like, okay, I'll get my little certificate and I'll be happy. So when I got the email, I was like, no, that can't be right. I think I read that email about 5 or 6 times before I clicked on. Oh my God, what? I won it. I can't even win an argument, let alone a competition, seriously. So no, it was wonderful. And I feel so physically fit. I work in a kinder room with kinder children. I can get up and off the floor. I can do anything now. So yeah, it's the best thing I ever did. There's no turning back, but the whole thing is the mental side of it. That's what I did it for in the first place, to get myself grounded and to get through life, looking after myself first. So yeah, the best thing I ever did. It's doable. No excuses. Don't use life's tragedies or whatever as an excuse. Use it as fuel. Use it as fuel to get going and do it. Yeah.
Well, if anyone would have had an excuse to give up, Jeanette, I think it would have been you. The broken coccyx, being a cancer survivor, having 2 grandchildren to raise, your sister having stage 4 cancer, your mother passing away.
Oh, and then 2 weeks before Christmas, my husband got diagnosed with early stages of prostate cancer. So that was really another thing.
Wow.
But it's early stages. You just got to keep positive, and you just got to keep going through. And to have a focus is the main thing. Yeah. People can do it. It is doable. So ladies need to join up.
You just are so inspiring, and I truly believe you kind of embody this theory that I have, that if you can sort of build a strong body, you're going to be much more resilient to be able to deal with these curveballs. You called it a curveball. You've had several curveballs to just, deal with that. You're going to be much more resilient to deal in, and you kind of embodied everything. And I'm so glad that you're signing up for the Belly Fat Boot Camp as well. And that's like, it's a brand new, it's going to be completely different from the 8-week challenge. You probably popped in and had a look, I should think, but the exercises are different. The food's different. We got a big section on sleep in there and gut health, a gut health cleanse. So it's going to be completely different. But thank you so much, Jeanette. You sharing that story, it's going to help so many other women. That's the thing. You're really inspiring other women to be able to just step forward and do this.
Yep, that's what we want to do. We want to let people realize they can do it. You can do it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Jeanette. I'm going to just temporarily pause you there, and then we're going to kind of go into the winners. If I can just temporarily move Jeanette there. So I'd love to know in the chat, what do you think about all these 3 women? Hopefully you saw all of them. Mary, Berenice, Jeanette. What do you think? Who was your favorite? Who would you love to win? It's really hard to pick this out. I mean, I judge all of it. I don't leave it to anyone in my team to do it. I'm a bit controlling, and I sort of you probably picked that up about my personality a little bit, but I'm slightly controlling. So it's one of those things I haven't managed to hand to anybody else in my team to take care of, because I feel really passionate about this. And there's no one that's necessarily more deserving than others. So it's always a really hard decision. And, those 3 women, they're all winners, really, because they've won their cohort. They've won $2,000. And it's just, sometimes it's a matter of somebody's just done slightly better, or they've got, a bit of a story that speaks to me, or I just kind of think, what I know their pictures are really going to inspire other people. So it's really difficult. I know no one's actually, so far I haven't seen anyone say who their favorite is in the chat. Maybe I know Mamuna in my team said all 3 women are such inspirational stories, and they really are. This is incredible stuff. I didn't have, my journey, I was always pretty fit. I just couldn't get in shape, but my fitness level was always pretty good through the years. Maybe just after having babies, I had to, pick it back up a little bit, but my fitness level. So I didn't go through the challenges that these women have gone through. I can tell you that. And so I just feel it does make me, it sort of brings a tear to my eye while I'm judging as well, because I think it's just, you just think, well, it's phenomenal. And I didn't realize when I started doing these challenges how incredible people were going to be. But we are going to now go to the winner, do a drum roll, and I'm going to announce the winner. But as I said, it sounds like a horrible cliche, and it really, I don't mean it like this, but I don't mean it to sound like a cliche, but they all could have won, and they're all amazing winner. But there only is one winner, and she's going to get $10,000 US, and that is Berenice Murray. Congratulations, Berenice. Well done. She's looking really shocked. I'm going to add you from your computer this time. So well done. How are you feeling? You probably can't speak, can you?
Oh my goodness. Oh my word. Melissa, you're not messing with me.
I've got to say that I haven't even shown all the pictures yet.
Oh my goodness.
But I
Oh my
sort of
goodness, this is
looked
too
at this
much.
transformation and thought, this is absolutely jaw-dropping. Absolutely jaw-dropping.
I'm shaking.
Given the time frame that you had to do this in was 8 weeks.
Yes,
Just like
yes.
Mary said about her transformation, it's like, well, you'd think that might be kind of a few months, maybe 6 months. You'd be happy with that, wouldn't you? So well done to you. You're going to be inspiring, as everybody else on the call, you're going to be inspiring, you know, hundreds, maybe thousands of other women now that they can do this, whether they can do this on their own, whether they want to sign up for one of my programs. Doesn't really matter. It's just people will know that what is possible, you know, given the right set of circumstances. You don't have to be a fitness fanatic and know tons about fitness. You just got to have the willingness, like Berenice and the other women and Mary and Jeanette, just have the willingness to give it a try. And even if you collapse, like Jeanette said, and couldn't do some of it, I've cried before with doing exercise. I got tearful when I was competing in bodybuilding shows. So it's absolutely normal to be tearful if you're sort of finding it too much. Have you got anything else you want to say, Berenice?
Yes, Melissa. Now that I'm actually connected, I want to say to everybody out there who wants to do this challenge or any other challenge for that matter, especially challenges for women over 40. There's nothing else out there that worked. We tried it before. Like, look, everything worked for me. My old ways worked when I was 20, mid-30s, until the hot flushes starts and the night sweat starts. And then hopelessness creep in because you feel lost, you feel defeated. But if you want to do, everybody wants to do the challenges, any challenge that is out there, especially for the women over 40, show up. You know, have patience. It's not always an easy ride because with us women over 40, our bodies normally don't want to play along. But if you persevere, especially with the community that is there, those women are amazing. We don't know what we would have done without that women, because sometimes when you can't make it for the day, there would never be negative comments. They will always be positive, speak positively over you. And then it's the Body by Bikini team. You can always rely on their answers. They really make you feel like you want to push through. And you don't see results with the naked eye, but people alongside you, they normally say you lose weight. And you just show up, you have patience, and you persevere, and you just like stick true to this, true what you want to do. Results will come. I know we all are very much in a rush we want to see results quickly, but you have to have patience and trust the process.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Have patience and trust the process. And I know people can feel, especially if they're prone to getting on the scale really often, oh, it's not really working. And of course, we don't, as part of this process, we don't ask people to take their scale weight because we think, well, the pictures tell 1,000 words, don't they? It's about your dress size. It's about how you feel. Do you have more energy? Can you do things you didn't do before? Do you feel, you know,
Exactly.
as you've embodied it by saying, I actually feel better about myself. I've got my confidence and my life back. That's far more important, isn't it, than what you weigh on the scale? Well,
yeah, and you know what, I also want to say, you have to prioritize this. Put yourself first. That's the most important. If you made this a priority and put yourself first, because happy you will be a successful you.
Absolutely. And everybody, your relationships are normally better with the people around you as well when you're happier and more confident. Well, thank you so much, Berenice. And someone in my team, as you've won, you know what the protocol is. Someone in my team will be in touch to sort the prize money out. And we'll probably be circling back round with you as well to see how you're getting on and everything. So do stay in touch and enjoy. Absolutely enjoy.
Most definitely.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Body by Bikini. Thank you so much. That is so big for me. I still can't believe I'm sitting here. It's unreal. I have to punch myself like to make sure it's really happening at the moment. But thank you so much. This is so big. This is
Well
epic.
done.
Thank you, Body by Bikini.
Well done. So so now you've heard from all the ladies that took part in last year's transformation challenge, and I'm going to be talking about now how you can shred belly fat yourself. I'm going to actually give you some tips, some of my sort of strategies, if you like, my insider strategies. And it's not about starving yourself. It's not about working out for hours every day. It's not even about going to the gym. These are sort of strategies that we've learned not only through running these challenges. So I'll be showing you the Belly Fat Boot Camp towards the end of this live, but also we work with clients on a one-to-one basis. We run a membership program. So we have a lot of experience, 13,500 women experience of working with women at this stage in life. And so we kind of know what really works. We understand what works. And so there was a poll, which I hope you managed to sort of, I'm just going to see if I can find it now so that I can read out what the results of the poll were. But, you know, what do you think is the biggest thing that's causing belly fat for you? Because understanding what the cause is, and you might want to just pop it in the chat as well as answering the poll. But the biggest thing, the thing about it is we can understand how we tackle belly fat. And this is where people sort of say to me, you know, maybe they come to work with me and they go, Melissa, I've got this belly fat. Can you give me loads of sit-ups? Can you give me some ab exercises? You are not going to see me talk about abs exercises on this live. So that's the first thing to say. Because when you look at what actually is happening with belly fat and what causes it, and by the way, all of those 4 things I'm going to go into detail. We've had 65 votes and 76% of you say that it's hormone based. 9% it's like mum tum. So it's like because of pregnancy and childbirth. 9% lack of sleep and 6% alcohol and sugar. Now, I believe that it can be every single one of those things. So let's talk about hormones, and that most of you have picked that out, and that's quite right, because we got a lot going on with our hormones. And it was funny because Berenice was saying, well, why weren't you around when my mother was having all these issues? And I remember when I was a young woman, I used to sort of look at middle-aged women and go, why are they all so overweight? Because in those days, I mean, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s in the UK. We didn't really have obesity. So I sort of thought, why is it you see women all of a sudden they're in their 50s and 60s, maybe even in their 40s, and this would have happened to my own mother. Why are they overweight? Are they eating too much? Of course, women of that generation, of my mother's generation, were not educated. They weren't told, I wasn't told, oh, you're going to end up gaining weight when you get to a certain age. And I know when I talk to young women now, they're really grateful. They're like, oh, Melissa, I'm really grateful. I understand this, because when I get to that age, I will know it's not my fault this is happening, and it's due to my hormones. So, of course, your estrogen and your progesterone are depleting, as is your testosterone. So your testosterone is also, people don't realize, women actually have naturally a lot of testosterone in their body. And when that depletes, you're not going to be able to build as much muscle, and it affects your metabolism. So all those hormones depleting is going to impact on belly fat, but in particular estrogen, Because when your estrogen starts depleting, your body wants to make more estrogen. And so what it does in making more estrogen is it starts to store more fat, and it typically sits around your midsection. So as a result of your body trying to make more estrogen, you get fat, and it typically sits around your midsection. And then, of course, there's cortisol. So cortisol is your fight or flight hormone. Who's really stressed when they get to menopause? I know I am. My stress levels, I got much more shouty with my children. I didn't realize why. My stress levels went through the roof. My late 40s. Are you finding that? So that's going to mean your cortisol levels are raised much more often. And of course, generally in modern society, we're kind of being overstimulated by the wrong things. We're not running from lions anymore. We're not in the wild. That's when cortisol might be useful, is we're sort of, being threatened by a predator or something like that. We're not doing that with it. It doesn't really serve much purpose. And yet we're having raised cortisol levels all the time. So when we have raised cortisol levels, it interferes with all our other hormones. It actually makes us store more fat, and it sits on your midsection. Then you've got another hormone, really important hormone called insulin. And we're going to talk about how we're going to tackle this. But most of us will become, at this stage in life, and as I said, we're working with thousands of women and hundreds of women as well on a one-to-one basis. What we know is many women at this stage in life, you can almost always assume that you have some level of insulin resistance. Now, some women, that's going to mean, they're pre-diabetes or they've got type 2 diabetes. But for others of us, it just means that we're going to basically not be able to control our blood sugars levels. We're going to have blood sugar spikes. And what does that lead to? Leads to more fat gain, and it typically sits around your midsection. So these are like really important aspects to tackle, not sit-ups. Sit-ups are not going to make any difference with those three things that I've just described. We'll talk about this, but if you improve your overall muscle, build more muscle, not just in your midsection, but all over your body, it's going to make you more insulin sensitive. So it's important to build muscle all over your body and not just rely on sit-ups. Then we got alcohol and refined sugars. I kind of had to put them all together, really. But they really don't do us any favors once we hit over the age of 40, going into perimenopause, menopause. Why? Well, one of them is because we've become more insulin resistant. So refined sugars are very unhelpful for that. And our body just doesn't process sugar very well like it used to. And we can often find that we react quite badly to it, and we react quite badly to alcohol. I mean, did you know as you age, alcohol, your body doesn't process alcohol like it used to, because we have naturally less water in our bodies. We do need to consume water. We naturally have less water in our bodies. So our bodies can't process alcohol like it used to. So this is why you might find your hangovers are worse. You get more tipsy, more drunk than you used to as you get older. And alcohol's a problem also when it comes to building muscle. We can't build muscle if we're consuming alcohol on a regular basis. So that's like problem number 2, alcohol and refined sugar. Some of you might not be doing it. You might be doing it to a very small amount, in which case it's not particularly a problem. Then we got pregnancy and childbirth. So maybe, I've got things going on. So I have diastasis recti, which I've recently just had some surgery to repair because it was kind of bothering me. I've been living with that for years, ever since having children, because I had one of these pregnancies where I was all on the front and not very much gaining much body fat all over my body, but like a big belly. And so I had diastasis recti. That can be a problem, which means your stomach can kind of protrude out more. You can have an umbilical hernia, and you're, you know, if it's really serious, you find that some of your insides are kind of splaying out through the muscle separation. So it's like a muscle wall separation. Now, you can, with some tummy control exercises, you can actually improve it, but usually you're not going to get 100% better. Then you got like the other thing, so you could have like a womb tummy. So this is what I've got as well, because I've got fibroids. You might have, you know, other sort of uterus conditions, which means like your stomach sticks out a little bit more. And just by the sheer fact that you've had children, you can often find you've had pregnancies, your stomach, your belly kind of sticks out a bit more than it used to. Not much we can do about that without the use of surgery, to be honest. But there is that. I mean, I like to do something called stomach vacuums, which I've got some videos. In fact, I think they're the highest watched videos on my YouTube channel. Lack of sleep. This is massive, and sleep is really underrated, and it's really important when we're addressing belly fat to actually address getting in good quality sleep. This is something I personally focus on, you know, which I never used to focus on at all, is getting good quality sleep. So we'll talk about that in a bit. So what are the solutions? We've identified what all the problems are. So what are the solutions? Solution number one is addressing your nutrition, which is just what we talked with, you know, the women that were very successful on the transformation challenge. We want to be getting in protein in at every single meal and snack. We don't want to be undereating. Undereating, this is why, you know, I see a lot of people online and they talk about like extreme fasting and going on like 24, 48-hour water fasts. And that's going to sort of turn into undereating. And really what that does is it slows your metabolism down, and you want to speed your metabolism up. But of course, you do need to be eating fewer calories than you're burning. So it's called a calorie deficit, but all it is it's the energy you put into your body. And so the energy that you're putting into your body, that you're eating, you're consuming energy in the form of food, you do need to be burning more than you're consuming to lose weight. But that is not the full story. That's just part of it. And so when people sort of say to you, well, if you've any, and I'm sure you have because you're here, if you've ever had any problems with your weight, and then people go, oh, well, you need to be in a calorie deficit, that is very patronizing, because it's not the full story. When you get to perimenopause or menopausal, it's much more nuanced. And so that's when we want to be getting in a good amount of protein, because what's that going to do? That's going to build up our muscle. It's going to maintain our muscle. But also, just for of course, you need to lift weights for that to work. But without the weightlifting, it is actually going to help us burn more calories by eating a diet that is rich in protein. It's actually going to boost our metabolism, because protein takes longer for your body to process than carbs and fats. So while you're eating protein, your body is burning more calories than it does when you eat carbs and fats. So, and also you get satiety. So you feel fuller and you feel fuller for longer. So it's really important to eat a really protein-rich breakfast, for example, because it's going to take you through the day and you're going to feel full and satisfied. You might have heard the women earlier on talking about non-inflammatory foods. So this is what we're doing on the Belly Fat Bootcamp. Everyone now, we used to have in the 8-week challenge a non-inflammatory diet, and that was sort of separate. We had the standard one and we had the non-inflammatory. This time with the Belly Fat Bootcamp, we're actually giving everyone non-inflammatory. So what does that mean? Well, we're going to be cutting out dairy and gluten, because for many women that's really problematic. And what we're going to do is in weeks 5 to 6, you can start introducing it and see how your body responds. And if it's okay, you eat some Greek yogurt and you think, yep, everything's fine, you can continue to eat Greek yogurt. And with non-inflammatory foods, I'll just sort of describe them a bit, because you're probably sort of thinking, well, what does that mean? So it does mean not eating processed foods, ultra processed foods, sorry. It's just ultra processed foods, not standard processed foods. So a standard processed food would be something like pasteurized milk. And pasteurized milk, apart from the fact that it's dairy, has had a minimal amount of processing. Or frozen peas has a minimal amount of processing. But what we're talking about with ultra processed food is a long list of ingredients. So we don't want to be eating those. As I said, we may want to cut out dairy and gluten. We want to be incorporating some amazing foods that are really good for inflammation. So they're berries, oily fish, olive oil, avocado, green tea, green leafy vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, mushrooms. All of those are non-inflammatory foods. Then we want to be taking care of our gut health when we're talking about belly fat. And so what does that mean? Well, it means eating the non-inflammatory foods, but also including foods that are really going to support your gut health. So they are fermented foods. Fermented foods, sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha. The list goes on. But any food that's basically fermented, unless it's kind of wine, I suppose, and beer, but foods that are fermented, non-alcoholic fermented foods are going to really support our gut health. And if you support your gut health, what you're going to find is it really helps your body shed belly fat. And we want to include fiber. I had to sort of really wrestle with myself to do the American spelling of fiber there, because in Britain, we spell fiber with the R before the E. So if you're watching this in Britain, I've deliberately done that because most of my audience is USA. And so, you know, they would think I can't spell properly. So, and of course, we don't want to be consuming too much refined sugar or alcohol. Now, when I say sugar, I don't mean fruit. I mean refined sugar. You know, that's what I'm talking about, refined cane sugar. Fruit is absolutely fine. And, you know, I don't demonize fruit. I don't demonize any fresh fruit or vegetables, in fact. You know, but it's just about incorporating the ones that we know are really going to support reducing our inflammation in our bodies. Then the next solution, of course, it's going to be moving your body more. You will notice, again, I haven't put sit-ups or core or ab exercises. It's about strength training 3 or 4 times a week. And strength training has multiple functions. So you know, I could probably do this whole live event on the benefits of strength training, but I'll just go through the ones that specifically are going to help with belly fat. And so what we're going to do by strength training is we're going to boost our overall metabolism. And what I always find when I put women on this protocol, the first thing that they start seeing is they start losing inches off their waist. You know, you want to exercise every single muscle at least once a week. And you can kind of do that. So in the latest Belly Fat Bootcamp, we're giving full body workouts 3 times a week. But, you know, in the past, you might have done one of my other programs, and we split into what I call a bro split, which is upper body days are split out from the lower body days. You can do this from home. Many people sort of say to me, well, Melissa, what's better? Should I work out at home or the gym? 80% of the women that do my programs work out from home, and they get incredible results. When I was working out at home, I was probably the fittest and in the best shape that I've ever been in my entire life during lockdown, during the pandemic. And that was purely from home. So it's not like that. There isn't a good answer that says one is better than the other. The best place for you to work out is where you think you can do it, where you think is convenient, where you feel comfortable, where you want to do it. For me personally, I like going out to the gym because I work from home. It gives me that kind of sense of going out and being around other people. I kind of like that. But sometimes when I need to, I'll just work out from home. So it's like wherever you can do it. We talked about, so there's the metabolism, and then there's the insulin resistance as well. So it's the best exercise for people with type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes is lifting weights. It's not actually cardio, because building muscle is going to help your body process insulin better. So sugars start to go into your muscle, and then it helps your body process your insulin better. So your blood sugar levels become more stable. So strength training is amazing for that and has huge benefits anyway for women over 40, because it's going to be better for our bone health, our mobility, our overall longevity as well, if we increase our muscle mass. Cardio is very much sort of misunderstood. Cardio, we still need to have VO2 max fitness, and it plays a role in losing belly fat. And it's about getting in movement. So I love to have women, and they get incredible results with this by just doing elevated walking. Elevated walking, what does that mean? Well, that means walking with a weighted vest, maybe walking on an incline, just getting your heart rate up. So it's a bit more than or a power walk. Maybe it's a power walk, but getting your heart rate up. So it's a bit more than just a steady flat walk, because your body will get used to that. And then, what I really love, if your fitness will allow it, but you heard from women at this live event weren't fit before they joined, and they still did this. It's like military or functional style fitness. So that's like, kettlebell swings, jump squats, burpees, all that kind of thing can really help. It helps us with our mobility. It helps us burn calories. It helps us improve our metabolism. But if you join one of my programs and it's not for you, we just give you an alternative to do instead of that, which is going to be like an elevated walk, basically an elevated walk. So I do recognize that for some people, that military style fitness, while I love it, some people don't. And so you don't have to do it, but it's really helpful. And then the third thing is lifestyles changes. Stress management. Sometimes exercise is a really good stress management tool. Just simply working out. We've had some sort of challenges over the holidays, and I got in the gym this morning and I was like, wow, 10 minutes in, I feel good. I feel pumped. I feel really strong. My brain just relaxes, even though I'm sort of, in a way, you're putting a bit of stress on your body. For me, you know, but whatever works for you, sometimes, you know, like for me, it's going out dancing. For you, it might be like knitting, reading a book, you know, whatever de-stresses you. It could be breath work. It could be meditation. These are things that are actually going to help, because we talked about cortisol, didn't we? They're actually going to help with managing our belly fat. Just like Jenny there, one of our previous participants, look at that, an amazing 8-week transformation. It just shows you what's possible, doesn't it? If you put your mind to it. And she really did. She went off on to compete in bikini competitions as well. And then the other thing is sleep hygiene. So in this belly fat boot camp, we're going to be educating the women about sleep hygiene. What does sleep hygiene mean? Sleep means getting good quality sleep. So it's not just the amount of sleep. Of course, we do have difficulty waking up in the night. And so this is where I teach women around the techniques. I have the same problem about how to avoid waking up in the night in the first place, which is having a set routine, sleeping according to the circadian rhythm. Maybe you didn't do this last night because everyone was staying up past midnight. I must admit, I didn't have any plans. But you should be sleeping according to the circadian rhythm, which is kind of going to bed at like 10 and getting up at 6, that kind of thing. It's going to really benefit your belly fat. Would you believe it? Did you know that getting better sleep, not only that, it's going to help you increase your muscle mass. When we sleep better, we build muscle better. Just like Jenny in that picture, she built a significant amount of muscle in that short space of time, which somebody might think, somebody of that age, I think she's in her late 40s, would pretty much impossible. So, you know, we're talking about things, you know, when we start to sort of focus on these nuances like sleep, it can make a massive difference. And I know personally for me, I've started to really watch my sleep. So I've got an Oura ring. You don't need to invest in something like that. You know, you might look at supplements to help you sleep. Things like ashwagandha, L-theanine, valerian root, CBD oil can be really helpful, melatonin. And it's actually practicing a really good routine when you go to bed. And then when you don't have too much blue reflective light before you go to bed, because blue reflective light it's just going to disrupt your sleep, not only just before you go to bed. So that's like scrolling on your phone, basically scrolling, close screen time just before you go to bed. You want to lose that an hour before you go to bed, because it can really overstimulate you and cause wakefulness. And that requires quite a lot of discipline, doesn't it? It requires discipline, but really, really worth it. Because if you get a good night's sleep, it's going to massively help with reducing your belly fat. And then these are things that, so I want to talk a bit about mindset and motivation. I haven't talked about it in the overall scheme of things because it's not specific to belly fat. But so I haven't named it as number 4. But you heard from these really inspirational women. How much mindset did they have to have? You know, Jeanette, who's going through some really difficult life challenges. Mary, who was told she was never going to be able to lift over 10 pounds in weight by her doctors. Berenice, who was hiding in her house behind curtains, not going out. These are massive challenges. So we got, and this is like rarely talked about. And if I made a video and just called it mindset, no one's going to watch it. Let's be honest. But it's going to be really 90% about mindset when it comes to like transforming your body, whether that's losing belly fat, whether that's losing fat generally, whether that's gaining muscle, whether that's getting into this is Stephanie here, one of my previous winners, amazing lady who really, I'm always posting videos up about her because she really transformed her mindset through the process that she went through. And kind of things that can help you with this: record your progress. So, we don't get women to take before pictures just to sort of embarrass you and make you feel bad. It's because once you've been through the process, you can see the pictures and you think, wow, I did all that. That is amazing. Because unless you had those pictures, it would be really easy to jump to like, oh, it hasn't really worked. I haven't made that much progress. It's really good to have an incentive. That's why I offer prize money. I know I've had some women who've had some kind of work thing that they've had with their colleagues, where they've done a sort of competition with their colleagues or something like that. Their co-workers, you call them co-workers in America, don't you? And then having some sense of community. So you're my community. And when you go into any of my programs, we actually put women into a community. And, they don't like to lose that community. So Jeanette was saying earlier on, she said she's still on the WhatsApp group with the women she did the challenge with. I went to London in the summer. Oh, it was boiling hot that day, a lovely day in July. I don't know whether anyone's here that went there. And Sherry DeRoche, who she won actually $20,000 on one of my challenges. I don't know whether she's here. Hi, Sherry, if you're here. She actually paid for these women to join my membership program following the challenge. So not only did she keep in touch with them, she used some of her prize money. We actually have a Sherry scholarship now as a result of this, where we give one woman, access, 1 year's access to our Strong Women Club as a result of Sherry's incredible generosity. But she actually kept in touch with them, and she gave them, because she knew they couldn't fund it for themselves. They didn't have the resources to fund it for themselves. So women, they do amazing things as a result of being in the community. You are my community because you're here on YouTube and being part of the community. I will actually let you into a secret is you can now, we haven't actually told anyone, but we've switched this feature on. I was quite interested to see if anyone used it, but you can actually post in my community now if you want to on YouTube. You can post, so we can post stuff, but we've switched on a feature where you can post your pictures or whatever it is. So being part of a community is absolutely, really motivating. And the women earlier talked about how that's like, it really just helps them. So, that's something to think about when you're thinking about going on your transformation journey. It's not just the physical aspects, it's the mental aspects. Who's going to support you? What incentive are you going to give yourself? Maybe you're going to kind of give yourself a treat at the end of it, a spa break or something like that. How are you going to record your progress? Are you going to take your measurements? Are you going to take your pictures? Are you going to go in and have your, a DEXA scan and assess your body composition? That's how much muscle you've got in relation to your fat, that kind of thing. I have some clients that do that. So just think about how you're going to record your progress as well. So are you ready now to get rid of that menopause belly, just like Berenice did, in 6 weeks and win cash? Let me know in the comments. Are you ready for that? I would love to know. And Maymuna's put it, and I'll just describe. You can do this all for yourself, everything that I've described on this live, but having the structure to do that is going to be incredibly helpful to make sure that you get it right. You may know I had 2.5 years of failure before I started seeing success, you know. Now, of course, I didn't have the benefit of a channel like this to see what I was meant to be doing, which is why I actually started my channel back in 2019. I didn't have the benefit to know what was right. But, you know, when I had a structure, a proper structure that I actually had given to me by a coach, it made a massive difference. And what we're going to be giving away an estimated $20,000 in cash, because we're going to use 10% of the entry fees for our cash prizes. So we estimate the first prize is going to be $10,000. The second prize is $5,000, but also we're going to be giving third, fourth, and fifth cash prizes. This will all be in February. Everything kicks off on the 12th of January. But if you're kind of thinking about signing up, I wouldn't wait on this, because you will actually get it on an early bird discount up until the end of today. So what do you get for that? You get 6 weeks access to our newest program, which is really going to help you kickstart fat loss. Meal plans, shopping lists. It's actually been a bit more difficult to create shopping lists for this one, because the meal plans, they have about 5 choices at each meal, and then it changes every 2 weeks. But what we can do is, if you think, oh, I want someone to create a shopping list, you can just contact our customer service team and we'll put some together for you. And we have created some sample shopping lists. There are follow along workouts. So the ladies that were here earlier said they were following along with me every day. There are PDF downloads of all the workouts and the meal plans, which you can download and keep, so they're yours after the 6 weeks. You get access to the community. So there's a private community in the app, and we include your competition entry in that. And that's the website address to go to, and Maymuna's put it in the chat. But you're also going to get these bonuses. You're going to get a sleep strategy guide. So that's really going to help with your belly fat. January is an amazing time to implement something like a sleep strategy. And we're also going to include a 4-week gut health cleanse. So it's really detailed on how you're going to do your gut health cleanse. You know, it's a really great strategy in terms of which is kind of low effort. It doesn't involve hours in the gym and that kind of thing. It's low effort to cleanse your gut and therefore get rid of that belly fat. And you're going to have this is actually new, live coaching. All these things are new here, that these amazing bonuses. You're going to have live coaching calls every week with me, a couple of my other coaches, and Dr. Natasha Ryan, who is really big on all of this. She's influenced me on how I approach reducing belly fat. I've been on many of her workshops. I actually send clients to her sometimes as well. And so she is really fantastic at teaching women how to get in the best of health during this really challenging stage, and therefore kind of losing fat. So that's going to be really interesting and exciting. Really excited for those bonuses that we're going to include. So have you guys got any questions? It doesn't have to be about the belly fat boot camp. It could be just general questions about anything. We got one here. I'm just going to put that up. So this is a question: life beyond the ring, how about vegetarians? So yeah, if you're talking about the belly fat boot camp, we do include vegetarian, vegan, you know, everything's included. So it's really not a problem. if you have very specific dietary requirements and you find that it doesn't look like they're catered for, we will just create something for you. It's not a problem. Same with workouts. So you might need modifications. We put modifications in the workouts, but in case there's something that you can't do that's very specific to your health or condition, we don't want you to miss out. I know I had one lady who had a limb missing on one of my previous programs. So we don't want anyone to miss out. We don't discriminate against anybody. If you've got a condition, if you're concerned about it, do speak to your doctor and make sure you've run it past them. But we can always create you a plan that's for you. If you find you can't do what's set out in the workout, never sort of think, oh, you know, I don't want to be annoying. And we're just really happy to help out. So this is another one from Life Beyond the Ring. It's Life Beyond the Ring, isn't it? I am ready and I am in, but I work at night. Yeah, so the sleep thing can be really, really challenging. You know, you probably already do this, having blackout blinds, you know, maybe wearing a mask, that kind of thing, and just still put all the strategies in that we recommend in the sleep guide. And, you know, you have got a layer of challenge. We have many women that do shifts that do this program. So please don't let that put you off. Right, I'm just reading through any. Oh, yes, somebody's giving some advice here. So I think is Bien, I think it's Bien. The boot camp starts with the cleanse, and then you can reintroduce foods while you keep a record of how you tolerate it. Every person is different. Most people gladly make adaptations for health. That is right. So you're just responding to someone's question there, aren't you? Which I'll just put, but I don't need to sort of answer this necessarily, but I will, because Bian's sort of answered it. But in a way, what she's saying is, yes, you do have to make some sacrifices, and I've made a massive amount of sacrifices. So we had the particular challenge, you might have seen my video on this, where Ken cholesterol levels were high. So we had to sort of, and mine was sort of, I think, 1 point above the normal range, and his was quite high. He's brought his down. He's been retested and brought his cholesterol levels down. Now, because we're a couple, we both did this together, and we've had to cut out. We don't eat any red meat whatsoever at all, because that's a saturated fat, and we don't eat dairy fats. So yes, that was a sacrifice, but isn't it worth it to be in better health? It's like, it's massively worth it. Now, I am a coffee nut, but I'll give you a tip. Yerba mate. You can still have yerba mate, and that's like caffeinated, but it doesn't aggravate your gut as much as coffee. And by week 5, you can start introducing things, and then you're going to discover, well, what is it that's really messing with my gut health? And you're going to build up a bank of knowledge that we'll find really, really helpful. But I honestly believe, Isley, is it Isley or something? I don't know whether I've pronounced that right. Unless you're willing to make some sacrifices, you won't get the transformation that you desire. There's always going to be something. There's either something you don't want to do, or you do want to do that you can't do. And so you've got to sort of think to yourself, I am lucky to get to do this. If you think about someone like Berenice and what a wonderful transformation she's had, And she's never going to look back. I don't know whether she ate cheese or gluten, but she's never going to look back and think, oh, I regret not being able to eat that cheese. Is she? It's just like, you're not going to regret any of those things. It's a little bit of short-term pain for long-term gain. And having your health, longevity, which I'm a big proponent of, they're calling it biohacking now, but it's really having a great quality of life into your sort of latter years. You know, I'm entering into my latter years. I'm 59. I'm going to be 60. Yes, I have to make some sacrifices. When I do things with my family, they're eating all the crap, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to eat any of that. They're drinking alcohol. They're doing all sorts, and it's just like, well, that's not for me. I don't do that anymore. And it's okay. You might have it occasionally, once or twice, but usually it's going to make you feel really off. And then you think, I'm not going to do that again. And, you know, going back to Ken and his cholesterol, through food, he brought his cholesterol back to normal just through the food, because he was already doing the exercise. So he didn't really need to change that. How happy is he? Because his family have a history of stroke. This is serious stuff we're talking about. When you adopt this lifestyle that I'm recommending for you, not only are you going to change your body shape, you're going to have a much better prognosis for your health later on in life. And health is wealth, after all. People can have all the riches in the world, and like when they lose their health, they just think, well, I wish I had that. And so all of this is done, the way that we sort of have a better quality of life as we age, it's mainly done through nutrition and exercise. It's nutrition and exercise. Yet there are things that we don't have control of. There are things that can go wrong with our health that we don't have control of, but we might as well focus on getting the things right we do have control over, because you're going to feel amazing. And then are you going to worry about that coffee once you stop drinking? Let me tell you, once you stop coffee for a couple of days, you're not even going to notice it. You just get used to it. Same with butter. I can't have butter anymore. Just got used to it. So let me just check to see if there's any questions. Like, yeah, green matcha tea, yeah, to replace coffee. And it's just for 4 weeks. And then you can start reintroducing it and you reintroducing a coffee and see how it goes. But yeah, the yerba mate, I actually drank some yerba mate before I came on this call, you know, matcha tea, yerba mate, and I felt not jittery. It's just like a little pick me up. So it does have some huge benefits. So I hope that really helps everyone, that little, you know, little point that was raised there about giving things up, but it's really worth it. And if, you know, just as a reminder, if you do want to join the Belly Fat Boot Camp, you will get it at that sort of early bird discount just for today. Then the price goes up. Still absolutely worth it at $147. So from the 2nd of January, it's going to go up to $147. So if you're thinking, jump on it now at $97. And just to let you know as well, I will be doing more lives throughout January. So I've still got to confirm exactly what time that is going to be. But every Friday, I am going to be going live. And so, you know, I'll be giving some shout outs on my channel to sort of get some ideas for topics as well. But, you know, I'm really grateful for you joining. It's really fantastic to have you here. As I said at the start, I feel truly honored and blessed to be able to spend New Year's Day with you, and that you've given up your time to spend with me, your valuable time to spend with me. I feel truly grateful and blessed to be part of this wonderful, really inspiring community. And I also want to say thank you very much to Berenice, our $10,000 winner, to Mary, who won $2,000, and Jeanette, who won $2,000, all of whom were fantastically inspirational. And so I'm going to say goodbye for now. And if you're joining the Belly Fat Bootcamp, I will see you on the 12th of January for our coaching call, or I'll see you on the next live event on YouTube. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your New Year's Day.